Hello and welcome students. Previous lecture there was a discussion about what is compartment modeling and what is the significance of this compartment modeling in biopharmaceutics and pharmacokinetics. Also there was a discussion about one compartment model. So I just want to make one thing clear that this is a hypothetical concept. When you see the entire human body, you will not find separate compartments within the body, but just for the ease of understanding and in order to calculate some pharmacokinetic parameters, we have divided body into different compartments. So this is a completely hypothetical concept. Now in continuation with the previous lecture, in today's lecture I am going to discuss about multi-compartment models. So this particular lecture deals with the detailed introduction of what is multi-compartment model. So here also we are taking example of intravenous bolus administration, and we will try to understand that how the drug will behave or how the drug will move inside the body between various compartments after intravenous administration. So ideally a model should mimic closely the physiologic process in the body. So whenever we are designing any study model, for example, the biopharmaceutical model or the compartment model, our aim is to create a system where the various aspects of this particular system mimics physiologic process which takes place inside the body. As we cannot use subject, for example human subject, in order to understand various concepts of biopharmaceutics and pharmacokinetics, we have to develop this kind of external models. In practice, models seldom consider all the rate process ongoing in the body and are therefore simplified mathematical expression. So this would help us to understand various rate reactions, for example movement of drug from one compartment to another compartment and from systemic circulation to the other tissue and even the excretion. So this would help us to understand that how these processes can be converted by using these models into simple mathematical expressions. The inability to measure all the rate process in the body, including the lack of access of biological samples from the interior of the body, limits the sophistication of a model. So even though this compartment model is hugely successful in order to understand various concepts of biopharmaceutics and pharmacokinetics, still there are some limitations, like we cannot collect samples from very interior of the human body. We cannot collect biological samples from the interior of the human body, and thus whatever conclusion we are drawing is not 100% correct, but the chances of being correct is more than 90% in case of compartment models. So this is the limitation of compartment modeling, that we cannot achieve 100% success in terms of calculating various pharmacokinetic parameters. Further, it says that compartmental models are classical pharmacokinetic models that simulate the kinetic process of drug absorption, distribution and elimination with little physiologic detail. So as I said earlier, that these four pharmacokinetic reactions are very important, and this compartment model would help us to understand various aspects of all these processes. In compartment model, drug tissue concentration is assumed to be uniform within a given hypothetical compartment. So practically it is not possible that each and every tissue have uniform concentration of drug, but for the ease of calculation we have to presume that the tissues which are part of any one compartment are having equal amount of drug. Hence, all muscle mass and connective tissues may be lumped into one hypothetical tissue compartment that equilibrates with drug from the central compartment, or that is plasma or systemic circulation. So two examples are given. The central compartment is a systemic circulation, which is also known as blood plasma, and the tissue compartment includes all muscles and tissues no matter where it is located in human body. However, tissue drug uptake and tissue drug binding from the plasma fluid is kinetically simulated by considering the presence of a tissue compartment. So this concept of dividing body into tissue compartment and central compartment would help us to understand that at what rate drugs are entering into various tissues from blood plasma. Further, it says that indeed most drugs given by IV bolus dose decline rapidly soon after injection and then decline moderately as some of the drug initially distributes into the tissue moves back to the plasma. So some amount of drug after the IV administration from blood circulation it will go to the tissue and again it will come back to the blood circulation from the tissue, and this would be visible in terms of the drug which is being circulating in plasma, or you can say the plasma drug concentration. Further, it says that multi-compartment models were developed to explain this observation that after a rapid injection, intravenous injection, the plasma level time curve does not decline linearly as a single first order rate process. So this particular model would help us to understand that the excretion of drug or the removal of drug from blood plasma is not a simple first order reaction, but there are some fluctuations, and these fluctuations are because of the tissue which is absorbing some amount of drug will release drug again back to the plasma concentration. The plasma level time curve reflect first order elimination of the drug from the body only after distribution equilibrium or plasma drug equilibrium with peripheral tissue occurs. So the only possibility of getting first order rate reaction in case of drug elimination is possible once the equilibrium in terms of drug distribution is achieved. That means the drug is completely distributed throughout the body, even at the peripheral tissues. Drug kinetic after distribution is characterized by first order rate constant, that is small b or beta. Nonlinear plasma level time curve occurs because some drug distribute at various rate into different tissue groups. Now what happens that after the administration of drug, the drug will not uniformly distributed, and there are various factors like the fat content of that particular tissue or the anatomy and physiology of that particular tissue. Also, the affinity of particular drug to a particular tissue plays very important role. So after the administration of drug, we would not be able to see a linear plasma level time curve because the distribution of drug across various tissues are not uniform. Multi-compartment models were developed to explain and predict plasma and tissue concentration for the behavior of these drugs. So here the concept of multi-compartment model would help us to understand that how the drug is being distributed throughout various compartments. In contrast, one compartment model is used when the drug appears to distribute into tissue instantaneously and uniformly. So, the one compartment model is only and only possible where we are expecting that the drug will distribute rapidly and uniformly throughout the body, or else we have to go for the multi-compartment model. For both one and multi-compartment model, the drug in the tissue that have the highest blood perfusion equilibrates rapidly with the drug in the plasma. So, if you see the overall anatomy and physiology of body, there are some tissues which are having very rich blood supply, and there are some tissues which are having poor blood supply. So tissues with rich blood supply would receive more amount of drug rapidly, and tissues which are having poor blood supply would receive less amount of drug, and that too will take longer time. This highly perfused tissue and blood make up the central compartment. So suppose someone asks you a question that what type of components are there in central compartment of the body. So the central compartment of body includes the entire blood circulation and tissues which are highly perfused with blood circulation. Further, it says that while this initial drug distribution is taking place, multi-compartment drugs are delivered concurrently to one or more peripheral compartments composed of groups of tissues with lower blood perfusion and different affinity for the drug. So simultaneous administration of drug is also possible. For example, one type of drug delivery would be the intravenous injection, and similarly or simultaneously the other injection is given in the form of subcutaneous injection in peripheral tissue compartment where the blood circulation is poor. A drug will concentrate in a tissue in accordance with the affinity of the drug for that particular tissue. Now the storage of drug in particular tissue depends on the affinity of drug towards that particular tissue. So even the storage is very much different from tissue to another tissue. One specific example has been given that lipid soluble drugs tend to accumulate in fat tissues. So fat tissues may have high concentration of lipid soluble drug and a low concentration of water soluble drugs. So drugs that bind plasma protein may be more concentrated in the plasma because protein bound drugs do not diffuse easily into the tissues. Now suppose you are finding that the tissue concentration of drug is very low. So one reason could be that the drug is highly protein binding, and because of this plasma protein binding drug may not penetrate into various tissues. Drugs may also bind with tissue proteins and other macromolecules such as DNA and melanin. So some proteins are also present within tissue, and there is every possibility that drug may bind with these tissue proteins. And specific examples are given like drug binding to DNA and melanin, which is a pigment. Tissue sampling is invasive, and the drug concentration in the tissue sample may not represent the drug concentration in the entire organ. So when we want to check various pharmacokinetic parameters, and for that when we want to check the tissue drug concentration, a small surgical procedure is needed to collect sample. So this entire process of sample collecting is invasive, and when you remove a part of particular organ in the form of tissue, the concentration of drug in that particular tissue may not represent the concentration in the entire organ. So this is very tricky situation. Occasionally, tissue samples may be collected after a drug overdose episode. So, a specific example has been given that in which case we have to go for the invasive process of collecting tissue samples to check the drug concentration. For example, the two compartment model has been used to describe the distribution of colchicine, even though the drug's toxicity tissue levels are after fatal overdose has only been recently described. So one specific example has been given that in case of drug overdose of colchicine, the tissue has been removed from the body in order to check that what is the exact concentration of drug, and accordingly the procedures have been performed, but it was not previously described. Further, it says that the kinetic analysis of a multi-compartment model assumes that all transfer rate process for the passage of drug into or out of individual compartments are first order process. So here the movement of drug within this tissue compartment follows first order rate reaction. On the basis of this assumption, the plasma level time curve for the drug that follows a multi-compartment model is best described by the summation of a series of exponential terms, each corresponding to first order rate process associated with the given compartment. So this multi-compartment model, the concept of multi-compartment model is slightly complicated, but ultimately it would help us to understand that the movement of drug after the administration within human body follows first order reaction, and this would help us to calculate various pharmacokinetic parameters. The nonlinear profile of plasma drug concentration versus time is the result of many factors interacting together, including blood flow to the tissue, the permeability of the drug into the tissue, the capacity of the tissue to accumulate drug, and the effect of disease factors on these processes. So these factors are playing very important role in the distribution of drug to various tissues. Impaired cardiac function may produce a change in blood flow and in the drug distribution phase, whereas impairment of the kidney or the liver may decrease drug elimination as shown by prolonged elimination half-life and corresponding reduction in the slope of terminal elimination phase of the curve. Now, two specific conditions have been discussed, that if the cardiac function is impaired, then the overall blood flow would be affected and thus the distribution of drug would be less. Similarly, when kidney or liver is damaged, more and more amount of drug would remain in the active form, and in that scenario it is expected that the tissues are having high concentration of drug. So students, that was all about the introduction of multi-compartment model. There are advantages of multi-compartment model over the one compartment model, because the one compartment model presumes that the drug is being distributed uniformly throughout the body, but that is not the case. So please go through this video and let me know if you have any query or question. Thank you very much. Have a good day.